Hello and welcome to this Component.Studio FAQ. I'm Andrew Voigt, and today we're going to be looking at the previous y and previous x variables. These variables help you automate the layout of your cards. I'm going to show you an example from one of my designs in the Dark Forest. This is an encounter deck that has a lot of text in each card. Now, the amount of text on each card can vary quite a bit. So I want to make sure that I don't have any gaps between my text and the line that follows it. This can be done with the previous y command. This body of text here is my setup text, and it has a sequence number of 40. This previous y variable is going to look at the asset that comes prior in sequence number and set this asset's y at the very end of that asset. In this case, it's referring to the asset above it at slot number 30. So Component.Studio looks at that line asset, this one here, and then begins the setup text right under it. This is useful for a couple things. First of all, while building your designs, if you're not sure how everything's going to lay out, this is a safe way to put things in so you're not constantly readjusting. Because if I change the location of this line, everything underneath it is going to automatically adjust because of how I'm using my previous y variables. The second use is if you have a text or an image that can vary in size from card to card. Like in my example, the text on each card can vary quite a bit. So, looking at that next line asset, that also is using the previous y variable, and then I added a 10 pixel buffer. I repeat this on the following text box to make sure that all my assets stay in line. One thing to keep in mind is that if you're conditionally rendering something and it does not get rendered, or if you have it disabled, the previous y and previous x commands will ignore it. So be careful if you're using both conditionally render commands and previous x or y. Now, I've shown you examples with lines and text boxes. I want to give you an example of an image. It works exactly the same. You'll see. The text is set to appear exactly below that image. Now, if we adjust that image's size, our text automatically adjusts. Now, you may have noticed that this text also changed its size. That won't happen by default. I want to show you how to make sure that happens. That way, you can set it up so that rather than going off your card, your text will shrink to fit within the card, no matter how far down it gets pushed. So, in this example, I have the y set to previous y, and then I need to adjust the height. I'm going to add into the height a negative previous y. So the full entry into this box is height minus 75 to keep it in the safe zone, and then minus previous y. And that's going to keep all our text contained to the bottom end of it without going off the edge of the card. I also have fit text to box enabled so that the text shrinks to stay within this area. I find myself using previous y much more than previous x, but both functions work the same. In this case, the not for runaway has the previous x entered in it. So no matter how long or short the card name is, it'll appear right at the end of it. And that's how you use the previous x and previous y variables. I really like these and how they let you build dynamic cards. I recommend you give them a try. Thanks for viewing this Component.Studio FAQ. If you have any questions about it or you want to see me cover other material, please leave a comment below and I'd be happy to address it. Once again, this is Andrew Voigt with Component.Studio, helping you make games to be proud of.